For today's art lesson, we're going to focus on South America and an animal that can only be found in a special location. Off the west coast of South America, 600 miles from Ecuador, you will find the Galapagos Islands, home of the giant tortoise. These are actual photos from my friend Stacy, pictured here, on a recent visit to the Galapagos Islands. Giant tortoises can weigh over 900 pounds, can grow to over 4 feet long, and they are among the world's longest living animals with an average lifespan of 100 years. For today's lesson, you will need drawing paper, a pencil with an eraser, and your choice of either markers, colored pencils, or crayons. All right, so we're going to draw our giant tortoise, and we're going to start by trying to use as much of this page as we can. So I'm going to make a few marks that are going to help us make the tortoise shell just as really big as we can. So if you take a look at your paper, 8.5 by 11, and do it the landscape way, we're going to try to make the tortoise shell about, I don't know, about three or 4 fingers, maybe 4 fingers on your hand away from each edge. So I'm going to draw a dot here, and it's about halfway in the middle of the paper. So I have a dot on either side, and they're about directly across from each other. And then what I found when I tried to draw this is I didn't make the tortoise shell quite high enough. They're pretty big. So I want to make another one kind of in the center of these 2 dots and about maybe 3 or 4 fingers down from the top. So these are just going to be guiding points so we can draw this tortoise shell really, really big. So you can watch me do it first, but I'm just going to be basically connecting the dots, but we're not going to make just a clean arc. Tortoise shells are a bit bumpy. So you're just going to draw, and it doesn't have to be even. And if it looks like you're getting a little bit away from, like I didn't quite land on my dot, but I got pretty close, so that's good. So I can just erase that. So you want to be able to go all the way up to the top, and I could have even made this a little like not so big. So you get the idea. We're going to sketch it out, and you can kind of adjust your tortoise shell, but that's the top of the tortoise shell. And then the next part we're going to do is here. This is going to be the front head of our tortoise, and this is the back. And so the shell kind of goes a little bit wider down at the bottom, and then curves back around. So I'm just going to have you do that little lip at the end. And then near the front of the tortoise shell, it just kind of makes a few bumps, then curves back around. This just doesn't go out as far as that one. And then really the rest of the tortoise shell, you can make it not totally straight line, but you can connect those pieces. And that's the basic shape of our shell. So once you have that, we're going to draw the head of our tortoise. And you're just going to use as much space as you have. I'm going to make my tortoise head go as far out as I can make it. And he's going to go all the way out to the edge of my paper and back again, that head. I can even put a little mouth here and a little eye. And then his leg really kind of comes down from here And remember, you don't have to worry about making any straight lines. They're pretty, just kind of rough looking animals. So notice I just kind of drew this big leg here, and I didn't connect it way up here at the shell because the front, I just made this little curve here. Because we're going to see a little bit from the side, you can see a little bit underneath the tortoise. So I'm going to just make another line around right where that curve comes, and just kind of make that right along the end of the underneath of the tortoise shell. And I draw just a little space until I get back here. And then, and remember, this doesn't have to be very big, like this is not even 1 finger width. It's just showing a little bit of that underside of the shell. And then I want to show one more leg down here. And again, you want to make these two about the same width. So mine actually probably needs to be a little bit wider. Just so I make these a little bit about the same width. You can maybe use your finger spacing. I have 2 finger widths. You might make it 3, depends on what makes sense for yours. So there's the basic outline of our tortoise. And the next part we're going to do may seem a little strange, but right in the middle of this shell, we're going to draw kind of basically a kind of a rectangle with a little bit of a curved line. So watch this, just right in the middle of the shell, I'm going to draw kind of a curved, it's going to look like a floating rectangle. And I didn't make it exactly square, but that gives you the idea. You want to draw this rectangle kind of right in the middle. And next to that, and remember, anytime if you need more time to go back and redo something, you can. And you can pause the video and then join me again. So next to this rectangle, we're going to draw another one, and the tops do not have to be even, straight, I mean. They can be a little bit curved and bumpy. In fact, it will look better if they are. And then the next one, I'm going to draw another one. This one actually is going to get me pretty close to the edge of the shell. Like this top line should get you too close to the end of your shell, and then I drew a line kind of down, so this doesn't match up along the shell exactly, but that's just what you want. And then this one, from here, I'm going to draw one more. And I'm making this one a little bit, kind of has a bigger bumpy shape to it. So there's 4, you should be able to fit 4 rectangles. Now, if for some reason yours maybe is not as wide as mine, you can just put 3. That's okay, but hopefully you can fit kind of these 4 main rectangles in the center. And from here, and again, pause the video if you need time to stop and catch up, but from here, we're going to draw the rest of the pattern on the shell. So I'm going to draw lines from the top. I'm going to do the top part first, and you can pick a spot. I'm just going to draw a line connecting from here to the top of the shell, and they aren't as big as these rectangles, and they're not straight lines, so I put a little bit of a bump in there, and they're not even, so this one might be a little bigger here, and this one might be smaller. See that? This thickness isn't the same as this one, and that's what we're looking for. We want them to be a little different and not straight lines. And now here, when we get to the front, these kind of, they're gonna go kind of sideways, and they get a little smaller, and they curve right to the edge of the shell. So in this section I put like from here about 4 of them, and just keep doing that. And they don't line up with these lines here, but they can be kind of right next to it. Yeah, I might want another one right here. This is kind of up to you. I think all the tortoise shells do look different. And here I kind of have a big space here, so I'm going to draw a couple lines. And then this is its own section right here. So you have your basic drawing of your tortoise shell now. And this is pretty fun because we're going to have a couple options of what you can do to decorate your tortoise shell. And I'm going to leave these center 4 till the end, and I'll explain why. But one of the kind of cool patterns, if you look back in the video, I'm going to start with one of my upper sections. There's always like this circular pattern on this tortoise shell. So the way you can do that is start in one corner, and you can draw like a line that keeps kind of getting smaller. And it almost makes it like it's squared off. And so that's what I'm going to do in this. I'm going to do that same kind of scroll pattern in every other, all the way around the outside, every other square. And sometimes I might start in a different spot. Maybe I'll start in this corner this time. And I'm just going to go around and around. And I'm going to go every other. I think that looks kind of cool. And then you have some options on how you draw yours. If you want to do that just like mine, or if you want to do it slightly different. I'm going to start down here this time. I'll show you. Mine worked out so that it works evenly every other, and yours may not. That's okay if you have 2 of these next to each other. Now, I'm going to give you the option. You could continue to do that same design in every one of these, but I'm going to show you another option you could use. You could use some pattern lines instead if you'd like, and I'm just going to show you one example. You could have some like wavy lines that go down the shell, or they could go across the shell, that little section. So you can alternate wavy lines going whichever direction you want and maybe alternating, or you can continue to do this spiral design in each one, or you could come up with a pattern of your own, something that you think it looks like you've seen on the tortoise shell. I'm gonna just keep doing that. And we're gonna, you'll have a chance to color this, so you don't want to make them too dark. If you, we'll probably go over them with markers or maybe colored pencils. Now, here's another choice you have, because before we start coloring, these 4, and this can be up to your teacher too, these 4 center sections, you could include facts that you've learned about South America. So we know from the video that the giant tortoise is found in the Galapagos Islands in South America. So what you could title your picture is something like this, because we want this to be a review of what you've learned about South America. So you can write South America is ... And then down at the bottom, I'm going to say South America is home to the giant tortoise. Then you can also say South America is, and each one of these spots you can write, I'm just going to write like 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to write those numbers, but you can say South America is a fact. Maybe that's what I should do. Fact about South America. 1 fact about South America, 2 facts about South America, 3 and 4. So each of these sections you could write something about South America. Or maybe you add another little picture in the tortoise shell. Maybe it's the largest country in South America is, and maybe you can draw the shape of that country. Or another animal is South America is home to another animal that you know lives in South America. Something that you've learned about South America. Each of these could be a fact that you've learned. So another way you could do that is, if you don't want that to be part of the tortoise shell, I just thought that would be fun, is you could maybe put your facts out here on the white space around your picture. And these could be additional designs like we've done around here for your tortoise. Now, when you're ready, I'm going to get my markers, and I don't have a lot of colors for my tortoise, but I probably would use, I do have, green and brown, and I do have a gray, so I might actually, because they're kind of that dark greenish gray, so you could even use colored pencils to add some color to your tortoise. And you could go over these lines, or if you have crayons, you could do that. Maybe I'll outline the whole thing with my colored pencil or your markers. Okay, and you could outline it in one color. I'm trying to get the brown here, and then color it in lightly with another color. That makes the design really stand out. So you can take some time to decorate your tortoise and to include some facts and things that you've learned about South America, either on the tortoise shell, which is really kind of fun, or out in the white space around.